I feel like I just got so fucking slapped in the face.
We have been forced to withdraw.
And they knew we weren't really gonna go to Hawk.
Basically bullying from MOONTON.
Me and Hoon were warning shots. This is what's gonna happen to you if you play HOK.
By childish, petty people sitting in office chairs.
And like even if they wanted to, who knows, man. BTK is banned from MSC. The MSC committee. I remember those. I remember that phrase. The MSC committee, huh? Mobile Legends said just spit on everybody's face, and for me to ignore that and still play, I can't. I cannot. I cannot. Nope. This is even worse compared to when I got banned in 2023 from the MSC. First of all, guys, I want to say there was no M7 for North America anyways. There was no M7. This was decided before the last NACT was even announced. That there's most likely no more NACTs. There was no M7. Months before this. That was the decision. Not for NA. There's M7. Not for NA.
Professional.
And their point onto why was because they're unsure about the TikTok ban. I'm not the biggest loser here. Biggest losers, are probably everybody in the Philippines right now. I'm not the biggest loser here. I lost. I'm not the biggest loser though. And it's amazing how insecure and scared they are of HOK. Do they not this is the biggest news story HOK has had basically since it's come out. I was a warning shot. Me and Hoon were warning shots. This is what's gonna happen to you if you play HOK. This is what's gonna happen to you. Yeah, try HOK. Take a sponsorship. Go play their game for a stream. See what happens to you. Yeah, they don't pay us to play ML. And I mean, we have to pay to play ML at this point. We have to pay for their own fucking boot camps, bro. Yeah, we have to pay to boot camp to make sure we have good MS for a tournament that has no prize pool. We have to pay to play this game. You can't possibly blame us for taking a sponsorship months ago when we've done them before and never had anything done like this. You can't. You cannot. How Shark feeling? People were sad. Carlos was drunk and crying. Zio was drunk and crying. Disgusting that they do this to us, man. Like pawns. Literally just we're literally just, we have no choice. When I said this was most likely the best option, I'm not kidding. That this was probably the best option. That's how bad anything else you guys think of would have been. The only way out was MOONTON bending. They didn't want to bend. They want to use us as an example. There's no M7 anyways, so this is an easy transition, from a MSC to no NACT at all. I feel like I just got so fucking slapped in the face, man. And they knew we weren't really gonna go to Hawk. HOK. They knew it. They knew it was just a sponsorship. And even if they wanted to, who knows, man. Some high up person at ML, no idea who, nobody knows who, just decided this is the way it was gonna be, and there is no ifs or buts. I don't know. So much history, so much. I'm not gonna say we gained nothing from ML. Me and Hoon became super big streamers off ML, but we did so much for ML too. Fucking the MSC committee. The MSC committee.
It's not a joke. It is 100% real. We have been forced to withdraw due to unfair restrictions and basically bullying from MOONTON. MOONTON sent us an official notice that we have been banned from participating in the Esports World Cup. The reason for doing so is due to the HOK campaign that Hoon and Zane partook in as of today, June 27th, which is a month away from June 23rd, which one we'll be playing. First of all, I do not blame Hoon or Zane, and neither should anyone. This campaign was planned a while back, and when they planned the campaign, they made sure in the MSC rulebook that it would be allowed. There was nothing that would seem to obstruct us from participating in MSC while they do the campaign. Because the MSC rulebook only applies from July 10th to August 2nd. and the HOK campaign period was June 27th to June 28th. I will show you the rulebook where it explicitly states this. These official rules of the Mobile Legends Bang Bang Mid-Season Cup 2025 MSC apply to each of the teams who qualified to play in the MSC from July 10th to August 2nd, 2025. The HOK campaign was announced publicly, and MOONTON immediately sent an official notice to us that if Hoon or Zane did partake in the campaign, that they will be banned from participating in EWC, which also results in the S8UL team being banned from being able to compete in EWC. We were pissed, but most especially Saul was pissed, S8UL. You might think now that Hoon and Zane should just back out, but they signed a contract for the campaign, and although I cannot disclose, breaking the contract entails damages that they simply cannot bear. Immediately, Dave and his company spent thousands of dollars on esport lawyers to help with the situation. The first question asked to MOONTON was, what rule did we break that would disallow us from participating in EWC? But when MOONTON answered this question, I'll show you the official notice that they replied with. The phrase, now this is like probably the craziest part by far, is the phrase from July 10th to August 2nd, 2025, is a temporal modifier that qualifies the clause have been qualified to play. This means that the dates tell us which teams the rules apply to. Teams qualified for the tournament, and that takes place between July 10th and August 2nd, not when the rules are in force. So the time frame restricts the event, not the applicability of the rules. This line is just already like right away. I read this and I was like, this is not real. Official rulebook. The MSC committee is authorized to restrict any activities that may adversely impact the interests of MSC 2025 or MOONTON. It is incontrovertible, I don't know how to pronounce that participation in promotional activities for MLBB competitors by MSC teams during the immediate lead up to the tournament will inflict material damage upon MSC 2025. And MOONTON's interests, as consistently emphasized, our stance on promotional activities involving competing products has always been stringent. This is hardly a familiar issue to the teams. Now, they're not wrong. You don't promote, competing things during an event. That's not allowed. But they're doing this a month prior from when we are actually participating and 3 weeks prior before the actual event starts. It's not even in the qualified dates in the rulebook. So they're twisting so much of the words here. And then MOONTON officially retains the final interpretation of these rules and is entitled to impose the penalties not listed below. So right here is like the kicker, where no matter what rule there is, no matter how you twist it, at the end of the day, they retain the final interpretation of the rule. So to argue whether you broke the rule or not, it doesn't matter, because they can just say, oh, we have the final interpretation. These dates that we give, oh, it's bullshit. They're just saying when the event is. It's not when the rules are in force. They can do whatever they want. There's like no point in the rulebook, essentially. There's no point in the rulebook. That rulebook that they send, that you're required to look at and whatnot, 0 point. Because they can say whatever is against their interests and whatever their interpretation is. Legally, MOONTON did not have to reference any rules. They don't have to look at the rulebook anymore. They can just say, hey, it's up to them at that point. You can't do it. They gave us the middle finger, and it basically told us and that we were banned. And there was jack shit we could do about it. They would not even let us have a different NA substitute player to fly in to potentially replace and fill up slots. They have already contacted other runner-up NA teams to potentially replace us, which is like absurd because it's not even been like a few hours since they told us this. They just thought right away. There's crazy, honestly. I'm just upset at my opportunity that was unfairly taken away by childish, petty people sitting in office chairs, looking down on the small guy. I feel bad for the team. I feel terrible for S8UL and the community that have supported us. And a team that has been forced to forfeit, as a team that has been forced to forfeit their spot in a major tournament, not because of any wrongdoing or failure to comply or failure to qualify, but because of business-driven restrictions imposed by MOONTON.